Hello and welcome to the weekly Kashmir University Video Digest Quest. First, a look at the highlights. Chancellor inaugurates first scholars meet. Meeting of Academic Council held. Research Counselor of the Iranian Embassy visits Kashmir University. Now the details of these events with your host Omar Malik. The Institute of Kashmir Studies Centre organized the first Young Scholars Conference in the university. The three-day conference was held to focus on young scholars, providing them opportunities to share their research, exchange ideas and develop future collaborations. Chancellor and Governor of the state, Mr. Narendra Nath Vohra, inaugurated the conference. Vice Chancellor Professor Khurshid Iqbal Indrabi, while presenting the welcome address, highlighted number of steps taken to disseminate academic freedom in the university.
The devolution of powers to deans here at the university, empowering departmental committees and Board of Studies with flexibility to invite counterparts from sister or other universities, student participation in curriculum development and the process of evaluation, cross-disciplinary eligibility for PhD enrollment, 6-monthly evaluation of research in progress, freedom for departments to propose need-based budget have been some of the hallmarks of our efforts to facilitate greater academic freedom and transparency. The results have been quite encouraging, with institutional H-index that stood at dismal 5 in the year 2011, recording a surge to more than 38 at the end of 2016. While all the science departments have improved significantly, both in terms of their research output and generation of extramural grants, the social sciences departments, particularly the Department of Social Work, the Business School, Library and Information Sciences, EMMRC, etc., have helped the cause equally.
Professor Indrabi said that academic freedom has shown considerable results in overall growth of the university.
Honorable Sir, the academic freedom catering to the transdisciplinary learning has shown a dramatic turnaround in some of our lesser-known departments like Sanskrit, to record an enrollment of about 70 students as opposed to just a few in an OE program, with 30 of the students resorting to dedicated Hindi and Sanskrit medium of learning. The biggest focus on part of our administration has been the reform in examinations, which we have virtually transformed by incremental technological and innovative measures to suit the larger cause of the stakeholders. While the IIT type multiple assessments has replaced traditional semester and examination to bring about more student focus and better time management, the live display of awards is slowly replacing the concept of result declaration. Across the board eligibility for re-evaluation and or visualization of evaluated answer scripts has added greater transparency apart from adding to the university's credentials. Digital life cycle management for all the students, now mandated by the UGC, has been a big initiative, wherein this university is only among us a few to exhibit compliance to National Academic Depository Program.
Presenting the inaugural remarks of the conference, Professor Sanjay Srivastava of Institute of Economic Growth, New Delhi, opined that complex societies need a strong social science to understand the complexities of the society.
One of the reasons why you need very strong research centers and strong universities outside the main universities, by which I mean the main larger cities, is precisely because complex societies such as the one that here in Kashmir require a strong social science context in order to understand what is it that people feel, what are their aspirations, what are the complexities of their life. And it seems to me that the Kashmir University in general and the Institute for Kashmir Studies in particular is attempting to do precisely that, to provide a context whereby people of different persuasions, people with different ideas, people who wish to understand the relationship, for example, between one of the things we do quite often is to forget that social sciences are places which provide very significant context to understand different spheres of society, whether it's science and technology, or whether it's religion, whether it's family and kinship. And it seems to me, what I understand at the Institute of Kashmiri Studies, that space has been provided. And that's why I congratulate my young colleagues, I congratulate the Vice Chancellor, I congratulate all of you who in future will be a part of the interdisciplinarity that the Institute of Kashmiri Studies is trying to promote.
Professor Navneeta Chadda Bihara of Delhi University, while lauding the conference, said that it's important to strengthen such initiatives for the betterment of scholars.
I think it's particularly important to impart and strengthen the skills of young researchers, and to that extent I really laud this initiative. I think it's an excellent idea to not just invite young scholars to share their ideas on a given thematic, on a given idea, but actually give them a completely open platform to listen what they have to say, what they have to research on, and then we as their supporters and facilitators, more than anything else, we can help them hone their research tools better, help them basically aspire to do what they're really wanting to do, research the issues, the problems, the problematics, the whatever they're wanting to research in. How can we assist that? How can we support that? How can we strengthen that? I think if that being the objective of this conference, I think it's very unusual and it's very refreshing, and I hope this is first in a very sustainable initiative that continues over the years to come, whether we are here or not. But I wish Institute of Kashmiri Studies and my young faculty colleagues from the Institute of Kashmiri Studies to really take on this initiative and take it forward in the years to come.
Professor Amit Prakash of Jawaharlal Nehru University said that social science creates a discursive space wherein one can talk about problems and their solutions.
Mostly the questions are answered through theoretical tools only. But theoretical tools don't help us embed that knowledge into the society itself, where empirical work of these scholars comes in very important. That you have to argue out the case based on actual empirical experience of 30, 40, 50 years and show that theory actually is to move on, which is not moved on. Which brings me to another very simple and important question of social science. Social science is often seen to be offering solutions to particular social problems. Okay, that's important. I wouldn't undermine that role at all. But more importantly, social science actually creates a discursive space to talk of problems, which can only be generated by all these variety of subject areas to be brought to bear, to asking that question, how do you prioritize individual rights, individual opportunities, privileges, and justice? That can only be answered through creating a social space where discourses of a variety of empirical cases can be brought to bear to question and interrogate some of the basic premises of liberal theory, which I think is exactly what this conference is trying to do.
Chancellor and Governor of the state, Mr. Narendranath Vora, in his presidential address, explained that the reasons of introducing PG programs in the institute.
It was considered useful to start a master's program in Kashmir studies. I had my own views on the subject, but I, for good reason, didn't interfere because this is the university's prerogative. I do not seek to dominate whatever decisions are taken here. I do strive to influence if I can, and if I can't, then I don't. This master's program was built on the premise that we shall have, virtually on a short basis, a reasonable number of scholars, young scholars, from our immediately neighboring countries, South Asia, essentially SAARC countries. And for this purpose, we had financial support from the South Asia Foundation, which, as it happened for some circumstantial reasons, has not continued. It is now dried up.
He opined that it's sad to note that students are no longer becoming problem-solving assets.
I was with Dr. Narayana Murthy of Infosys, and his entire speech for about 1 hour was to lament that our educational system is not producing the kind of students who are problem solving, who have the capacity to solve problems. Of course, very well said, very well thought out. But my own response is, students shall become capable of doing certain things, handling issues, problems, finding solutions, if our teachers and the institutions are capable of imparting such confidence and knowledge to the students. If our teaching systems are inadequate, if our teachers are not adequately interested in teaching, then the students will learn by rote, pass examinations, and try to get into one or the other service. Problem solving is a totally different thing. So therefore, I would say again, meeting of scholars, young scholars meet, is a milestone event in any university, particularly in the Institute of Kashmir Studies, which has gone up and down in the last couple of years, and I believe now we shall be having some perspective in the coming for the next 2-3 years.
The 52nd meeting of Academic Council was held in the Gandhi Bhavan Conference Hall. The Vice Chancellor, along with Dean Academic Affairs, Dean Research and Registrar, discussed various issues pertaining to academic with deans, heads and directors of different departments. During the meeting, many proposals put forward for introducing certificate or crash courses were discussed threadbare. The Academic Council discussed adoption of policy for transfer of credits in PG programs of the university. The evolving education scenario in the current world has forced many changes in the academics curriculum. The popularity of the massive online open courses, popularly known as MOOCs, has allowed universities to introduce such reforms. During the day-long meeting of the Academic Council, it was decided that the university shall grant credit for courses that are equivalent to its courses completed during the course of the program at the University of Kashmir or at any institution that it recognized. It was decided that the university will allow students who wish to take a course, either core or elective, at another institution to apply for credits in those courses, but with certain caveats.
I made a suggestion to him that by गड़े मुद्दे नहीं उखाड़ने हैं, कैसे है, क्या नहीं है. तब तक क्या होता था, 10% of this ये जो overhead charges आते हैं, इसका 50% जाता था यूनिवर्सिटी चेस्ट में, 50% जाता था डीन रिसर्च ऑफिस में, जो उन्हीं दिनों शुरू हो गए. तब तक पूरा 50%, यानी कि 6 साल पहले तक पूरा overhead charge was in the custody of the university. So his statement that he has never seen this money is not correct.
The Academic Council felt it necessary to establish a statutory body under the name of Research Council on the lines of Academic Council. This Research Council will seek wider involvement of experts, researchers and other stakeholders in prioritizing policy formulations. The Research Council would be an advisory body that would help university in strategic and transformative research. The Vice Chancellor will head the Research Council and the Council shall meet at least once in 6 months. However, the Research Council will not take any decision on any matter falling within its competence, which involves financial and administrative implications without obtaining prior approval of the syndicate or the University Council. Research Councillor of the Iranian Embassy in India, Professor S. M. Raza Khalili, paid a visit to EMMRC, University of Kashmir, wherein he interacted with the faculty. Producer EMMRC, Mr. Tariq Abdullah, detailed him about the functioning of the centre and showed him some showreels of the programs that are being produced in the centre. Professor Khalili later took a tour of the centre and appreciated the infrastructure and resources that the centre has been able to make in 27 years of its existence. A condolence meeting of Kashmir University teachers, Quetta, was held to condole the demise of former Registrar and Dean Science, Professor G.N. Javed and Dr. Muhammad Yusuf of Persian Department. Mourners paid tribute to the departed souls and recalled their contribution towards Kashmir University. Dean Research, Professor Zafar Ahmed Rishi, Quetta President, Professor Muhammad Hussain, Mr. Nasir Mirza of Media Education, Dean Students Welfare, Professor G.N. Khaki, CUMSA President, Mr. Abdul Rashid, Quetta Joint Secretary Mr. Tariq Abdullah and General Secretary of Kyoto, Dr. Musawwir Salam, spoke on the occasion and recalled the memories of the departed souls. With this, we come to the end of today's program. In case you have missed some part of the program, you can log on to emmrckashmir.com, where you can watch the whole episode. Do send us your suggestions at our email address quest@emmrckashmir.com. Karl Popper said, "The more we learn about the world and the deeper our learning, the more conscious, specific and articulate will be our knowledge of what we do not know, our knowledge of our ignorance." With these words, I take your leave. See you next week. Goodbye.